Hi, guys. Welcome. I'm Leo McCarthy, spiritual mentor. And today I have my friend Rachel with me. And we're going to have a conversation about old ways and old wisdom and how that reflects in our everyday life. And this conversation is going to be connected to the Soul Searching Sanctuary, which is a spiritual growth platform. And Rachel, I'm going to turn it over to you and introduce yourself to everyone, and let's just start this conversation.
I'm Rachel. I'm a holistic practitioner.
So tell me about old wisdom, Rachel.
So you think about the ancient days. People are associated with the wheel of the year, but what is that exactly? That is how they used to map out, basically everyday life and survival. So when we think ancient wisdom,
Rachel, let's talk about um, some old ways in the wisdom that comes from these old ways that maybe people used to live by. And how does our everyday life right now reflect maybe what's been lost?
I would say in ancient times, they would follow lunar cycles and the wheel of the year, but not as we know it. Back then, it was more of a map of everyday life and survival, honoring the seasons, not just the earth itself, but within themselves. So we are coming across Lunasad, or as most people know nowadays, since the neo-pagan movement, as lamas. Um, Lunasad is the first of three harvests. This is ideally when crops that have been planted are starting to grow in full force, and you're getting the first harvest of the early crops and whatnot. Um, Now, how does that relate to us now? Because we're not all out with our sickles and,
Right, exactly. Right.
So basically, how we can adopt this into our everyday life is what is harvest. Okay. So it's not just, oh, I planted some corn in the backyard, let's go get some.
Right.
It's goals, ideals, things that you're personally working on. So if you start, I don't know, say you have a career goal in mind that's a common goal nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
or like if you're working on yourself, say, I want to work on my health, and these are steps I have to take to do it. So you have to commit to that, taking action. But the idea of how we would apply that is these would be the first signs of your goals coming to fruition. It's not the end game by far, but it's if you've been taking the appropriate steps, this is where you're starting to see some results. For better or worse, you're seeing the results of what you're working towards.
So, how we approach our goals now compared to maybe how people in years, centuries ago, in older ways, with where we didn't have like what we have now with technology
Right.
and everyday life, how did they approach things?
Okay, so Wheel of the Year. The concept to them, you have the first harvest. You're going to start with early crops. Then you have the second harvest. Okay, that's when you get most of your crops. That is really where preparation starts beginning.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so um, then you have Samhain, which everyone commonly knows as the day we honor the dead and those who walk before us, and when the veil is the thinnest, and we can do a lot of ancestor work
Mm-hmm.
and the light. But it's also the final harvest, which means you got to start really um, preparing things and saving things, preserving them
So
for
it's
the
kind of
winter.
like the last harvest where before winter sets in, where stuff is not going to grow.
Right.
Okay.
And it's also the season that transitioned into full action to you need to now rest.
Okay.
Like
So it's
you think fall is
that last
something.
hurrah, that last harvest,
Mhm.
and then once that's done, then we go into almost like a, I don't know, hibernation, but it's like a rest period.
Right. And nowadays, okay, so how we can approach that is so the harvests are all action, action, action.
Mm-hmm.
So if we think of it in our phases in our life today, when we're younger, say, usually in our early 20s, because that's when everyone's graduating
Right.
or, getting their certifications or what have you. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually early 20s where, people start their adult lives.
It's like a building phase.
Right, exactly. So that's like Linasad.
Okay.
So you're building.
Okay.
You're just setting out on your early goals.
Okay.
And you're starting to make some progress.
It's kind of like you're adulting.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
It's, you get the education or training or what have you, job training even. And then you get your job, you're getting your car, you're getting your first place to live and, adulting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Naven, the second harvest.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the majority of things are happening. So maybe that looks
Now,
like.
when does that fall during the year? Maybe.
Oh, sorry. That's in September.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then, that's like the main harvest. So that's like further progression in your life. Maybe that looks like you're buying your first house, you get married, you start a family.
Mm.
Maybe, you've worked really hard and now you're starting to enjoy life, that sort of phase.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Samhain, which is actually really complicated when you think about it, but let's stay focused here. As a harvest concept, it's sort of the final harvest. It's like you've worked so hard your whole life, it's almost like your retirement phase of the harvest, if you will, because you put in all the work.
It's like that last cycle,
right?
Or that last,
right,
yeah.
Because you've put in the work, you've done all you can, and now it's your time to rest.
Yeah, now you kind of get into like almost it's beyond like a maintenance phase.
Mm-hmm. It's like whatever you worked, whatever you have, that is what you have.
You reaped it.
Right.
Right.
And hopefully, most people, that means that they get to enjoy life a little bit, or, they, whatever they wanted in life, they can grasp at least some of it, you know, and it's just the wind down period, because when we're all at retirement age, I mean, we're all usually elderly,
mm-hmm.
and we're winding down, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that rest period. It's time to take a breath, and whatever we have is whatever we bring into winter.
So like in the old ways, the resting period, like in the cycle of the seasons, would be
winter months, like because if you have the season of darkness,
mm-hmm.
so which is not a negative thing by any means.
No.
It's just what it is.
It's just
so you have from Samhain till Yule, which is December.
Okay.
December 21st to be specific.
So that's the darker season.
Right. Yule is actually the darkest night of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's, the season of death, if you will.
And death doesn't mean necessarily physical death.
No,
it just means the end of something.
It also means transformation.
Right, okay.
Because when you're resting, think of the caterpillar.
Yeah,
when
like
the
there's
light
a lot
comes
of
back,
work.
you come
There's
out,
a lot
baby.
of work going on
Mhm.
during the rest period.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
It's kind of like when we sleep.
yeah, and it's a lot of what you put into your life. Um, even if it's not religious or spiritual, it will have that effect because our spirits are like the main part of us.
Hmm.
So whatever affects us in life or whatever we work towards, you know, that will manifest out at some point.
Hmm.
And even though I feel like nowadays we can't stop. So the resting phase is kind of a joke in modern day, but it's really something that I think a lot of people are awakening to, needing
Yeah.
to rest and
I think
regenerate.
people are so busy with life nowadays because things are a lot more complicated than old days.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
there is no necessarily like order to the seasons or cycles in our life sometimes
Right.
with a lot of people because it's all over the
It's
place.
just go, 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 go,
Yeah.
go. No
And so
stopping,
there's
no
no
breathing.
transition or there's no clean transition from one thing to the next necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I feel like it causes a lot of imbalance. It's what I would say the old wisdom.
Hmm.
They knew, the famous verse that everyone so likes is there's a season for everything.
Yeah, right.
Not nowadays, but
So what could we maybe adopt or take from the old wisdom that we could kind of work into everyday life for ourselves to make it less complicated?
well, definitely people I think are starting to realize and readopt this, but it's got a long way to go, is that everything is interconnected.
Hmm.
Okay. And
So when you say that, what do you mean by that?
everything, whether it's me, you, a plant, an animal, whatever, we all have a vibrational sequence.
Okay.
And we all kind of react.
Hmm.
If you want to get down to science, it's like
There's a reaction, action.
everything is atoms.
Yeah, we're bouncing off each other.
Negative,
Yeah.
positive
Positive,
charges.
neutral,
We
right, yeah.
attract certain things.
Mhm.
We connect to certain things. Certain
Mhm.
things are comforting to us, some not.
Right.
It's all energy.
Hmm.
Okay, so um, all right, let's consolidate to us because we're talking about people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are not solitary creatures. We are meant to have connection with each other.
Hmm.
When you put someone in solitary confinement, what happens?
Right.
Right?
Hmm.
And I feel like, um, with all the convenience and technology of today, I feel like a lot of people don't realize how isolated we become in our culture.
Yeah, I think because of technology, there's so much synthetic energy
Right. And
around.
I mean, I could call you on the phone, or
Right.
we could even do what we're doing now, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
Zoom or whatever, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
When you're in each other's presence, it's like we can feel each other's energy, and
It's superficial.
right. And if you're with somebody you care about, a friend, family member, whatever, you feel, their kindness or their love, or you feel that.
You feel a vibration off of them.
Right, and
Right.
it feeds your spirit.
Hmm.
You can't do that over a screen.
No.
You
no.
can't.
No.
And going out into nature, in the old ways, no matter what culture or practices, they were all very nature based because they knew nature was healing. So
what can we learn from nature?
so much. Not even that is such a broad topic.
What about, like, I know people talk about like tree bathing or forest bathing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, so the best way to ground is definitely barefoot in nature. My favorite is find a moss bed and stick your feet right feels amazing.
And tell us
But
about, why does it feel amazing? What do you feel? What happens with you?
because when you don't even have to close your eyes, but I prefer to, and you can just feel all the heavy and anything negative or anything trapped, just the earth just takes it. Okay.
And what does the earth do with it?
You know what?
Did you say like it transmutes it?
think
It just neutralizes it?
Yeah, it does, but I think it does its own thing.
Does I mean, it's
into
it's hard to probably us to wrap our head around what
right.
it actually does.
Yeah, but and we even know scientifically tree spores. People with allergies don't really care for it, but when you breathe it in, it's whether you have allergies or not. You breathe in those spores, and it actually has a positive effect on your health. It can lower cortisol, which, if anyone has any conditions that are very highly affected by stress,
Mm-hmm.
it can perhaps have a lowering effect to that. So it's good for your health. I know I don't have any conditions per se, just speaking from my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime I'm stressed or really upset, I'm off in the woods.
You feel better out
I'm off in the woods.
Yeah.
And when I come out, all the heavy is gone. My problems might not fade, but I personally will get like this heavy, sickening, crushing feeling in my chest when I go in the woods. I do know a lot of practices and stuff that I will partake in, but when I leave, I just feel light and so much better. It might stop the work through that problem, but
Mm-hmm.
all the negative effect is pretty much.
So you kind of like neutralized it a little bit.
Yeah. But even some trapped energy or blockages may be dissipated.
Mm-hmm. Dissolved.
Right. Because we know when that builds up, problems happen.
Right, right. And so, like, can you talk a little bit more about, like, I know you described a little bit of, like, how you might be feeling when you know it's time to go into the woods.
Right.
But, like, what are some things that people could recognize that maybe they don't pay attention to right now that would tell them I maybe do need to, let's say, disconnect from my phone and go connect with nature?
Mm.
Like for yourself, can you talk a little bit about like how you know for yourself?
Oh. Well, for myself, I don't know. That's just like my go-to for everything. But certain signals is, like I said, the heavy feeling in my chest,
Mhm.
or honestly, for me, and this could just be a me thing, I don't know, but I don't do well in four walls for long.
Oh,
Like, I
okay.
will get really fidgety.
So like almost do you like feel like trapped?
I feel like I'm crawling out of my skin. It drives me nuts.
Okay.
Like, very antsy and just that uncomfortable feeling. It's just like, I gotta go.
I think maybe it's a little bit also like, people that we have a lot of energy, it's like it doesn't want to be contained.
No. No.
Right. So Rachel, I just want to circle back. I know we talked earlier about like the seasons we're in and, what we go through now with preparing for life and going through our emotions to kind of, as we get older, progress through life. And it's kind of like we talked about where as we kind of move up the ladder in life and as we get older and we get more seasoned, like when we go back to talking about like the harvest in those seasons and going into the darker period for rest, when we take that rest and we're in that season of rest, what's around the corner after that?
So, as I aforementioned, Yule is the darkest night of the year, but from there, light progresses.
Okay.
It's a celebration of light returning.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of, it leads to Ostara.
Are we talking spring?
Yeah, it's basically Easter.
Okay.
Easter time.
Okay.
So it's like early spring.
Okay.
Sort of. So it's the return of the light, which is kind of like a rebirth almost.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, like I said, the old life dies, and then, and what that means really is it can be a transformation. It can be what no longer serves you, you've left it behind you so you can progress.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can be kind of a new you, really,
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you are in life or what happens in your life. And then it progresses to,
Right. Like a new chapter.
yeah, and then it progresses to Beltane, which is in May.
Okay.
That's like fertility and renewal and everything. So that's really kind of like the spark of new life.
So it's kind of like evolving.
Right. So it's kind of like this kind of silly to kind of think, but it's sort of like Ostara's like new life, and Beltane time is like the rebirth of that.
It's like the next cycle back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then progresses to Letha.
Mm-hmm. Letha is when?
Letha is the solstice, so that would be
Oh, the summer solstice. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and that is like the strongest day of the sun, but it's the longest day of light.
Right. The opposite of what we were
Right.
talking about earlier.
Right.
Right.
So, Beltane, that's usually when you plant seeds.
Right.
So that's when you're getting ideas. What do you want to do with your life? And that's at any age, really.
Right.
So, and that's when you plant. And then with the solstice, things are growing by then.
Mm-hmm. Things are in bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of want to say that the energy of the sun is supposed to be very healing and very proactive.
Okay.
So it's like a very strong point in your life, or
just a lot of things rely on the sun's energy.
So how you internalize that nowadays, because not everyone's like doing a sun ritual or whatever.
Right.
People don't do that anymore.
Right.
So think of it as, reflect it as your inner strength. Okay. So you have your ideas, your intentions, your goals, what have you. And you've gone through this progression of, okay, you planted the seed because you had the idea. Okay.
Yep.
You recognize that that's what you want. Then you have Letha. You really need to take your personal power and make it happen.
Okay.
You have to keep beating that. Okay.
Okay.
And then if you take steps towards that, and you have the 3 harvests in life, and
yep.
boom.
Yep. and there we are. Okay.
Yep.
Back where we started.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say about this that we've talked about tonight? Or just any, like, what can people think about, or no matter what season in life they're in right now, what's a good place for them to maybe focus on for themselves, I guess?
I want to say that, we talk how things progress. And, when we talk, I know a lot of people are thinking about if it happens successfully, because that's not reality. We always have bumps in the road,
right,
or obstacles, and sometimes it's not for a few days or months, sometimes it's years.
Yeah.
So I just want to take a moment and maybe encourage people, don't give up.
I think what we want to say about that, also, what I'm getting is these seasons and these cycles, it's infinite.
Yeah.
It always returns.
Mm-hmm.
It begins, it ends, and it begins again.
Right.
Right?
But definitely never give up on
So
what
that
you're doing.
season, or that next season might be around the corner, or it could be months away, it could be years away, but we don't know, but the
Right.
cycle will come.
Right. And timing isn't always as we see it.
And it isn't always on our time.
Right. And then there's law of attraction. So
Yep.
that's why I keep saying, please.
So
don't give up.
maybe next time we get together, maybe we should talk about like manifestation.
That would be cool.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
And we'll talk again. Bye.